And you're in New Zealand, right?
I am. I wish everyone was here. It's like being on Mars, really, compared to
That
others. But whereabouts are you in America?
I'm in Oakland, so it's across the bay from San Francisco in Northern
Oh, cool.
California.
I've never been. I'd love to.
It's a wonderful place. I'm a Deadhead, Grateful Dead
Uh-huh.
head, and so the music came out of the Bay Area, and even
Yeah.
as a young guy,
Yeah.
I wanted to live here. So I let it be known that I really really love the personal history of David Copperfield, and they said, "Oh well,
Yeah.
I have to talk to you," and then uh, and and really I just loved your performance so much. But then, in preparation for our conversation, my wife and I watched Saint Maud last night.
Uh-huh. Quite different.
I
Yeah.
did. I think that if there wasn't like two kind of really different roles in this world right now, this would be the prime example.
Well, I just was so lucky to be cast in both of them because like I both of them explore kind of things that I'm passionate about. Like I love the anarchy of the extreme kindness that is being created in David Copperfield, that it's kind of like the most rebellious movie in its gentleness. Um, and then with Saint Maud, I just think I I really feel that Rose wrote like a script that's kind of devastatingly sad to me, but also shows how different things could be. Because there were so many moments that was like, maybe this could be the turning point where this doesn't become a horror tragedy. Like, where could someone have like come in and made a difference? And kind of thinking back to like your film as well, like there's so many little moments that people can have that just change the courses of their lives. And some of us are lucky to get them. And I just Maud, because of the hand she was dealt and things being taken away from an already kind of empty hand, meant that she never had that moment. But I kind of thought often about the opposite of what the film was and found it kind of hopeful in that way as well. So yeah, to be in both of them was incredibly fulfilling for me.
But Saint Maud is just so many different things, and
Mm,
I think it truly, truly is. I mean, is it anyway? I was so impressed with the filmmaking. Also, oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Rose is a genius.
Well, I'm hoping I get a chance to talk with her also
Yeah.
because I made although I've made this documentary,
Mm.
I've been asked to perhaps direct a project, an episodic,
Uh-huh.
and
Oh, cool.
so I kind of I have a question I'm trying to ask every actor or actress I talk to,
Yeah.
and that is, what can a director do to allow you to do your best work possible?
I think it's kind of just in terms of like when you start kind of any relationship, it's I think it's just good to talk just openly about what works for you, because I don't think there is any kind of size fits all. So for example, I'm quite happy for a director to shout their not shout in a mean way, but like loudly like say their notes and people hear them, whereas I know lots of actors who'd rather like have them whispered in their ear. And I think
Hmm.
there's no way of kind of, I think just kind of, it's yeah, having an open, at times what seems slightly too kind of direct conversation about what people need before starting, because I
Hmm.
think so then there's less of a little merry dance. Um and um but I think what Rose just has, she created an environment that was just very safe and happy. And one of the reasons for that was that she had faith in everyone's individual expertise and what they could offer. And that creates a place where people are happy to give more than they thought they had. Yeah. So, but I think it starts just with an open conversation. You're never going to know what everybody needs or wants. Yeah.
I mean, I think that as I imagine myself in this role,
Yeah.
and that it is I'm really glad to hear you tell me this, because I think that
Yeah.
is modeling what my instinct tells me, which is
Yeah.
that you make sure that everybody knows that this is a safe place,
Yeah.
that everybody is respected,
Mm.
that there's no hierarchy or food chain here, that
Yeah.
that we really want everybody to do a wonderful job, because anybody that's happy or unhappy because
Mm.
they feel dismissed, it's just going to really
Yeah.
affect everybody else. But it is that sense of trust,
Yeah.
and
And I really feel that, oh, sorry, I cut across you. Um, Rose created a film set where Maud would have been happy. And that was kind of very important to us.
I'm part of this BAFTA fellowship, this breakthrough.
Yeah.
And so one of the things is, trying to hook us up
Congrats.
with mentors. And
Yeah.
have you had mentors in your career?
Um, there's two people that kind of, I think I would class as a mentor. One of them was my mum in North Wales did a drama when she was a teenager, was part of like a drama group in her village. And she was walking the dogs one day and was like, Peter. And it was the teacher who'd run her drama group. And she asked him if I was kind of failing and miserable in school. And she knew that I kind of quite liked kind of drama and like, it was more kind of like poetry and romance, I think, was what I liked. And she was like, could you maybe like read over like some sonnets with her or some Shakespeare monologues? And then my dad helped him set up and learn how to use his computer in exchange. And I would just go over his house every Wednesday and we just read a poem together or something. And it was an education that I felt comfortable with, because I think with my brain in school, I think I found being in like big groups and stuff, it wasn't that I was kind of overwhelmed. I was kind of like overstimulated. I was like, so exciting, and just couldn't focus. And so to have this quiet time with this kind of, he was about 80 when I started going over, like this older, gentle man, was wonderful. And then another guy was, he's called Tim Reese Evans, and he runs lots of children. He ran a children's choir in Wales and ran Welsh National Youth Opera. And he was the first person who was just like, you should do this. Why not? And I was like, because who knows what's going to happen? And he was like, yes, so we never know what's going to happen. And I was like, well, I think I need to go to university maybe and get a degree that I can afford, a safety net. And he was like, if you have a safety net, you use it. And it was quite, yeah, he really just championed me. And yeah, so those two definitely kind of completely changed what my life was, really, by just being very encouraging. But also, even if I hadn't become an actor, what both of them gave me was like a right to enjoy and to feel engaged with it all. I have ADHD, and I have learned so much about myself in the past 3 years since I've really engaged with like TikTok and Twitter. Yeah, my mum also has ADHD, and I often think about like, oh, if she'd had her TikToks to watch, to see that, like, from her little village, that she wasn't the only one who thought she was mad, it would have been great. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that people talk. I think it's important people like you talk about this also. I had read this LA Times article that was an interview with Rose, Rose
Yeah.
Glass, and you had said that I found now that the film, the Maud St. Maud, seems to matter more than ever in terms of how conversations around mental health and around health workers. I've been thinking about Maud a lot amongst all of this.
Yeah.
So, and I love that you said that. I
Mm.
love that you said that, because I think that we portray people, and
Mm.
and but I just feel like your consideration of what does this role mean, and how are we talking about this, and how am I thinking about this,
Mm.
is so important. It's so easy to slip into roles that represent us, that don't do us justice, or don't
Mm.
don't think about the ramifications, but you did. You
No,
did.
I'm glad you see it. But also, I feel that like in terms of like being a woman in this industry, I feel that I'm walking through like a field of corn or something that women before me have gone through with a scythe and carved out this track that then I can walk on. And so it's kind of, yeah, I feel that like to be able to play the character of Maud and to be able to kind of like have control over her and stuff is something that also I feel is very kind of unique to now. And I often think of like, I wonder how kind of whether I would have been, I just probably wouldn't have been saying those things if it had been 20 years ago. And I like also often think like, could I have coped at all? So I feel very grateful for the people that have gone before me, and then like just all the trailblazers really. And so then I don't have to blaze too much. It's quite nice. Yeah.
I feel the same way. Truly, it's kind of like I'm very grateful for the people that you see in Crip Camp who really put their lives on the line to make my life a little bit better. And there have been people in the industry that have been working before me, and I've been really wanting to help other folks myself. And certainly working with Nicole, I've seen firsthand at times the sexism and the difficulty she has as a woman. And I learned a lot working with her.
Yeah, interesting. That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have to wrap up. I could talk to you for a very long time.
Yes, it was lovely. How nice.
I hope we get a chance to meet someday in real life.
Yes, I hope. Yeah, not over Zoom.